Let's touch on quickly what the 13 love languages are, because we touched on that previously, but we didn't get through the whole 13. Can you remember them all?
I should be if I created the bloody thing. The first thing I want to say is we give love from what was modelled to us as well, from a value point of view. We also give love from a void point of view, what we perceive we didn't have. We do that, but typically we will repeat the patterns. So for me, we'll start with the obvious one, which is tough love, right? Now that might drive out that inner competitor and make you more resilient and blah, 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 but it's never our first choice, especially as kids. Nobody wants fucking tough love, and you appreciate elements of it as you get older, but that's how I kind of turned up in relationships, if I'm honest, mate. Yeah, I would get off and telling them what they didn't want to hear, and it may have been right, but it was delivered from a place of ego, and it wasn't delivered from a place of compassion and empathy. And again, for the most part, I wasn't aware of that. And when I did, I felt, oh shit, that's not good. So tough love is one. Go to the opposite side of the spectrum, and again, this is never your first choice, but to me, I think it's the most important, which is knowing your partner's trauma and holding that, not fixing it. Men, not fixing it, holding it. And it's such a powerful connection can be made with your woman. And I'm speaking like a straight monogamous heterosexual man, because that's my background, that's who I am, that's my dealings. But when we can ask, thanks for sharing with me, do you want any advice to help move through this painful situation just now, or do you just want me to be there for you to vent to and give you a hug? Like, that can shift your relationship dynamics so much, mate. But from a wiring point of view, as men, we're wired to see problem solution. So women are just more sentient. It just feels, hey, she did this to me at work, and like, that fucking bitch. Well, see when you get in tomorrow, make sure you say this, and this. Like, you're not listening to me. Yeah, that's terrible. I'm not asking for your advice. And we go, what the fuck are you asking me then? You're just venting about nothing here. Start wasting my time. So that's so important. It's just presence is key. Just be there. Just, you don't need to feel what you said about your ex and take it all on as yours, but just, it's like the squat rack. Spot them. Don't lift it for them, because then you're robbing them. But it's so important to know that, and from a place of non-judgment and compassion, because what they've experienced is generational, this stuff. It comes all the way right through, and then of course there's complex traumas and things in there as well. So that's to tough love and holding healing space. Quality time, personal space of reflection, playful tactile touch, sexual intimate connection, words of praise, saying I love you, very different. PDAs, public displays of affection. Sometimes it's a kiss and cuddle, and because your inner child might like, I feel good that she's happy to be seen with me, or maybe a wee tag in social media, or I don't know, a card, or hosting a surprise party, all these kind of things. Where are we at? Gifts and presents still in there. It's usually the bottom for a lot of people, other than tough love. Where are we at? 10?
Yep.
Mindful acts of service. I should be able to rattle these off. I'm trying to remember the diagram that I've created. Will come back to me.
So why is there 13? Because the original 5 are acts of service, quality time, gifts, words of affirmation, and physical touch,
yeah.
right? So why have you made 13? Why do you think there should be 13 instead of 5?
I was, again, the wounds is the wisdom. So I spoke about the father wounds, my father wisdom.
Yep.
So I was traveling, so I I'm going to leave a cliffhanger here. I was engaged to be married the 13th of July 2015. I called the wedding off with 11 weeks to go. I married someone else on the 11th of August, and there was no crossover.
Wow.
Let that sit for a minute.
Damn.
6 months later, 3 days after my mother's birthday, I get diagnosed with cancer. This is now 2016, March 2016. Coming up to October 2017, my nephew is about to turn 1, and we fly back from Australia to Scotland for the first time. Now, in between time, I've had the kind of online bullying and all that other stuff, so I'm having all these cellular memories start to come up about going back to Scotland, a little bit of anxiety. So we're on the plane, and I go to check my phone, and I go to have one last look before you put it on aeroplane mode. And we checked in, me and the wife, checked in the airport, Glasgow, here we come, da-da-da-da. And my dad had replied saying, can't wait to see you, Spark and Sam, that was her name. He says, can't wait to see you, Spark and Sam. Just remember, son, the people that matter don't mind, and the people that mind don't matter. I've got your front, back and sides. If anyone's got anything to say, they can politely fucking jog on. I love you. And I took a panic attack. Now, my wife never knew what I was reading. She thought I was anxious about flying back to Glasgow. And I mean, this was a proper one. I hadn't took this for maybe 3-4 years previous at this level. I'm like, oh my God, I'm on the way out. And the plane's just starting to take off, by the way.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, I'm standing up, taking the belt off, and the flight attendant's like, sit down, son. Sam's like, love, you've got to... I'm like, I could not breathe, I could not speak. And then this, God love her, this wee angel came over and said, there's 3 empty seats there, do you want to go in there? She came over and she got water, but Sam's looking over, she's like, you need to just sit, I've got him. So she's sitting there putting water in my face and clapping, and then I kind of, as if I drift off, and then I hear the ding, the seat belts. So it's only like 5-10 minutes, but I go out my boy, I come back, and then I feel calm, and then I go over and I just burst into tears to my wife, and I go, he does love me. She's like, what? I was like, he does love me. She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, my dad. I was like, he said, he never. So that's 2017, so 5 years ago, I'd been 34. I had convinced myself for 34 years I didn't need to hear that. He'd never told me he loved me.
Wow.
Now, I've said many times in this, I got the praise if I was good. I also got the opposite side. But hearing those little 3 words is different to words of affirmation. That was the first thing. I spent the rest of the flight writing the 13 love languages. So my father's the reason for doing that. Because my father, he's overweight. And we went back in that trip, and my wife had said, I'm a bit more attracted to you in Scotland. You seem more relaxed. And I was like, oh, really? I don't fucking feel that. From back here. She said, no, the banter with the family and stuff. She said, I know, you'd said about growing up, you've had the teenage button heads with your dad and you and your... She said, but by God, you and your mum are very similar. She's like, you make way more sense to me. And I said, yeah. I said, it's interesting watching my mum and dad's dynamic, because they're like Punch and Judy. But it just works. They're just always niggling at each other, but they love each other. There's a lot of play and fun and laughter. But I couldn't handle it, mate. I could not be married to my mother or married to my dad. But for them, it just works. And my mum's hyper Catholic, super Catholic. I'm a recovering Catholic. And I said to my wife at the time, I went, do you know what? I said, my mum just needs a right good fuck. And she said, love. I was like, I'm telling you. I said, I've been thinking about this. I said, because physical touch is one. I said, my dad's really playful with my mum. He'll walk past and he'll tickle and cuddle and he'll cuddle in, and my mum will always kind of fake beat him up. And then he'll do this. He's a big kid, man. What are you doing? And she's like, oh, son, in you come. They're really playful. But my dad's bad diet, mate, you know this for the performance, mate, his testosterone will be through the floor, estrogen through the roof, shame as a man, guilt, When he rolls over in bed, mate, I can hear it. Now, I'm not painting a picture of some American guy that needs a crane to get out of his bed and has a Channel 4 documentary about him, but he's big. But again, similar to how he spoke to me growing up, he knows there's right and wrong, and he knows, and there'll be shame attached to that. And my dad, when he goes into the, I'm reminded of my cancer every day I go for a shower, but I've equilibrated the wound and the wisdom. Every day my dad goes for a shower, he'll be reminded of feeling less than a man, I feel. I've never had this conversation, mate. I'm really being assumptive here. But he's not going to get to see that. He won't have saw that for many a year. And I very much doubt that they're sexually active. Might be like a lunar eclipse. Happens every now and again and it's special, but I don't see it. And growing up with that Catholic background as well, there was a lot of sexual shame. Not overly from my mum and dad, to be fair to them, but just it was the taboo subject. Like watching Titanic and Kate, with some of them getting her drawing and there's a boob, and my mum was like, Tam, turn that over. It was like that. It was really taboo, mate, and that's why I think I spent the majority of my 20s like a walking hard on, mate. I was just like anything, just and it was also a means to perform, to go back to my wounding. My thing would be I would sleep with this girl and I would give her the best 2-3 hours a night, and she'll go and tell her pals and I'll sleep with them over the next couple of weeks. That was my tactics, man. And I was deeply looking for connection, but I was so fucking scared of it, man. So it just became this player, but then I got to connect with the boys. Oh yeah, did that, fucked up, did that, all that bullshit that we go through, mate. And when you say it loud, I mean, there's no guilt or shame, mate, because it's a big intricate part of what I do now. But I've carried a lot of guilt and shame with that, because how I used to treat them, mate, yeah, you would have the porn star fucking and all the rest of it, but there was real emptiness, like real unfulfillment. You go, is this that? No. So when I look at that and I know the sacred container that a conscious relationship is, and the beauty and the power of our sexual energy, to see my mum and dad with it, that, like, beyond the, gads is a Scottish term for like disgust, like gads, you'd go, oh, mum and dad doing it. Growing up, of course, that's a horrible thought. Even now, like, I would never want to be a front row seat of that. But from an emotional point of view, it makes me sad that they don't have that. So that's where that then get fractured, the physical. But they make up for it by being very tactile, very playful.
Right.
There's a lot of reassurance and cuddles and kisses and fake my mum beating them up and all that, and they're just like, they're two big kids, man. Yeah, they really are. So that's that side of things. Saying I love you, the trauma was a big one, because I'm going, they just don't know why they behave in certain ways. The tough love, again, that's what was handed to me. My mum as well, like, her father left when she was 2. My aunt was 10 years older than my mum, so my aunt had to work at 15 to support my gran. So my mum was 5, she was coming into an empty house, starting coal fires, cooking, cleaning, walking the dog at 5 years old. So she was very, very lonely, and all she had, to be honest, was her faith. So I could show her what God is, but in doing that I would massively traumatise her, because she would think that 65 years of being alive has been a fake. So sometimes it's like, knowledge is knowing what to say, wisdom is knowing whether to say it or not. And I wouldn't, like, the thing is, why would I don't want my mum to think like me. She's perfect as she is.
Right.
And that's one of her highest values, so why would I want to take that away? So sometimes you just, again, it's just layers of consciousness as you go through. What other ones do we have? Mindful acts of service, adventures and trips away together. I never said that. I think that's a big one.
But isn't that under quality time though?
It can be, but it depends on how you spend that. I know that we could then open quality time up to everything, but quality time to me, to be honest, is cooking or ordering our favourite food with some form of chocolate in there, watching a movie and cuddled up, not necessarily having sex. Could be, depending on the chocolate coma. If I feel sex enough.
Interesting. So you categorise it that that accurately.
It's based in my values.
Right.
But adventures and trips away together, because the quality time I've found that I can only have. Quality time to me is just pure presence.
Yeah.
Adventure and trips away is more into the unknown. The quality time with that presence is more. It's more. There's like a security. You know what's involved. With the adventures is stepping into the unknown together. So you're looking at, wow, I'm going. It might be travel. It might be going to Uluwatu. It might be going to a new restaurant that you've never experienced before, but something that you feel a little bit adventurous. So there's been a few. I know quality time can be quite subjective, but that's based in me. To me, it's just pure presence. And the last one that I forgot about, because quality time, again, it can be encapsulate a lot of them, but words of affirmation, as he had, like mine is words of praise, and the other one is deep conversations in life. My mum and dad don't have that. They'll back each other up.
Yeah.
They'll say nice things. They'll give each other tough love. You're not fucking doing this and da-da-da-da. And everything's growth, but the deep conversations in life want to know that there's more. No, unless it's from a Bible passage and related to Catholicism and God. Yeah, no, they never speak about that stuff, which is why I trigger them so much when I speak about this shit.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but it's showing the love language. It's letting their trauma come to the surface.
Yeah, it's like there's that quote. You can, if you feel you're so enlightened, go and spend 2 weeks with your parents.
Yeah.
They know our triggers.
But yeah, they've played a blinder.
Yeah,
They really have.
yeah.
They really have. Nothing is missing. And I really mean that. Before I've said it and not really embodied it, now I get it.